If you're anything like me and someone tells you you need to forgive yourself, especially when you're in the thick of feeling remorseful for whatever it is you did, whether to someone or yourself, your mind goes blank. Not because you don't know what the person is trying to convey to you, but because you don't know how. And so, in today's video, we are going to explore how to forgive ourselves. And hopefully, by the end of this video, you know exactly what to do and you're able to have a much more peaceful life. There are three phases to actually forgiving yourself. And thank God, because you are already doing the first phase already, which is recognizing that you've done something wrong and you want to make amends. You recognizing the wrong you've done, in of itself is actually a good thing, because so many people roam around the world doing things to other people and even to themselves without as much as giving it a thought, much less, feeling bad about it, because they think they are justified in whatever it is they did. Not many people can take account of I can't even speak. Not many people can take accountability for their actions, and the fact that you recognize being wrong in of itself is a very fortunate thing, because so many people are roaming the world with dead hearts, and thank God you are not one of them. So, as I said, the first phase is recognizing that you've done something wrong, recognizing how much hurts you've hurt the other person or yourself, because we hurt ourselves every day and we need to forgive ourselves for that. The second phase, which is a little bit dicey, is you separating guilt from shame. Guilt is a moral emotion. Shame is a wasted emotion. Put this at the back of your mind. Guilt is a moral emotion, while shame is a wasted emotion. Because what shame does is it keeps you in a vicious cycle of, it keeps you stuck in life. Because shame is deeply rooted. When someone has shame deeply rooted in themselves, you can see it in everything they do. They are always apologizing for their existence. Everything they do is an apology of them existing. And that shouldn't be, that is not a life. That is not a life at all. So I would rather you feel guilty, make amends, and move on than keep punishing yourself and keeping yourself in that vicious cycle of always coming back for more shame. Because the more you are stuck in it, the harder it is to get out. So as I was saying, guilt is a moral emotion, because it is teaching you, whenever you feel guilty about something, it is teaching you that you have misaligned yourself with your values. You have misaligned yourself from your values. You are not doing what you know to be something you value. You are doing something out of character, right? That is what guilt does. Every emotion, we all know this by now, that every emotion teaches you something. Anger teaches you that your boundaries have been crossed. uh, you being upset teaches you that there is a deep seated sadness within yourself. And guilt teaches you that you have misaligned yourself from your values. That's what it's supposed to teach you. So sit in that guilt, recognize that guilt, and then we move to the third phase of this all, which is the repair. So if this thing you did was to someone else, you apologize and try to repair the relationship, right? And if this is something you did to yourself, which is the hardest thing, forgiving yourself for something you accepted before, or any of that, is the most difficult thing to ever do. But I'm going to give you a little mental exercise, which is to ask yourself, if I knew what I knew now, then when I did whatever it is that I did, would I have done it? And you have to have compassion for that part of you, that version of you that did whatever it is. Because if you had all the information and the wisdom that you had now, the reason why you are even feeling guilty in the first place is because you know better now. And you have to have compassion for that version of yourself who didn't know. If it was your best friend that did the same thing, would you beat yourself, would you beat her up like Would you keep constantly remind her of that bad thing she did? No, you wouldn't, because she's your best friend. You love her. So why can't you love yourself the same way? Why can't you do the same thing for yourself? Why can't you just realize that that version of you didn't know any better? And that's okay. That doesn't excuse the behavior. That doesn't excuse the behavior at all. But it helps you understand yourself better. Once you recognize the circumstances surrounding whatever it is you did wrong, you realize, oh, she didn't know any better. But now that I know better, I'm going to do better. And another thing that people don't realize when they go into this repair mode, right, is that you doing the bad thing, right, doesn't take away from your worthiness. It doesn't take away from your worth as a human being. That's why guilt is very important and shame is not. Shame needs to be discarded, because guilt is saying that while I am worthy of love and everything good in this world, what I did is not good, right? It is, but shame is saying because I did that thing, I am bad. And because of that distinction, two people who maybe did the same thing might have a totally different trajectory of life, right? Because one chose guilt and amends and repair, and the other chose this vicious cycle of shame. That's why it is very important to know the difference between the two, so that when you are falling into the shame cycle, you can pull yourself back. Understanding your emotions is a very important part of being human, having a fulfilling life, right? So when you understand these distinctions, it helps you make better choices. So before I end this video, I want to leave you with this. Self forgiveness is not a privilege, it is a prerequisite for the life you crave. You implementing these things and actually forgiving yourself, the life you crave is at the end of that. And I hope and pray that you take the road of self forgiveness so you can actually see the life you crave come to pass. So let me know in the comments, what is the one thing you still haven't forgiven yourself for? Inshallah, I'll see you in my next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.